Hi, hello everybody. So, I actually have two pieces of news today. Obviously, I'm going to start with some of the less exciting news. We've gotten into the rhythm of getting a weekly update every single Thursday for Destiny Rising. However, they quickly made an announcement today, on October 1st, the day before, that there will be no scheduled maintenance on this Thursday, October 2nd. So, this means that the servers will remain online, but it also means that we will not be receiving any extra updates, any extra content beyond the already scheduled Sparrow Racing event. So what this means is that the state of the game that is currently going on, aside from the upcoming Sparrow event, is going to remain the exact same, going all the way up until Act 2, along with Helhest's release. This also means that we will not be receiving the 200 Lumia leaves that we were getting every single week prior due to the maintenance, so do keep that in mind. We do actually have a little bit of extra information. So, Helhest's character trailer has actually released, and we can actually tell a good few things from this. So, why don't we get to watching it, and I'll break it down bit by bit. So, obviously, starting out, we can see, just from clothes alone, she is looking to be a hunter character. She has the knife on her right leg, and she also has what looks to be a cloak flowing from her back. Additionally, it shows off a metallic arm. It's some kind of prosthetic. I'm not really sure how this interacts with her being a light bearer. Don't light bearers usually have the ability to regenerate their entire body? It is definitely going to be interesting to see the reasoning behind this. Like, why she has that prosthetic? Well, of course, apart from the fact that she uses it for combat purposes. But another thing that we can also see is that, well, just like from the teaser, she's awoken. Right there, she launches a drone from her prosthetic arm. And that's going to go ahead and start scanning the area, probably finding some target for her to snipe with her linear fusion rifle. And of course, this is confirmation that she is working with the Iron Lord Felwinter. So, from the teaser, we actually know that she had some relation to the Awoken Queen, whether or not, like how close she was. I think she just kind of worked for Marsov, at least before she became a Guardian. And then, obviously, post-resurrection, she became a light bearer and is now working with the Iron Lords, it seems. So, we can see her fighting some Fallen, and right off the bat, it shows us her wielding a bow as a primary, like I predicted. Additionally, that bow is actually Trinity Ghoul. So, it does look like we will be getting Trinity Ghoul in this game after all. I wonder if this is going to be the only exotic that she'll have access to, and if they're going to be holding off on Le Monarch until later. But I am pretty excited to see how this will turn out. Now, I will say, this should be a world drop, okay? I do not want to see Trinity Ghoul in the Battle Pass. This isn't a weapon like Furious 3, where it's a original new weapon. I'm gonna say if this is in the Battle Pass, I'm going to be very, very upset. And I'm only saying this because previously the Furious 3 was a primary exotic that was in the Battle Pass, and this is the primary exotic that they're showing Helhest wielding in this trailer. That is something we will have to wait and see on for confirmation. But obviously we can see Trinity Ghoul, that it's doing the usual Trinity Ghoul thing, Train Lightning, being really good at defeating a bunch of enemies, and then we show off one of her main abilities, which seems to be her signature ability, to launch out a drone. I don't really know if this is going to be something that's just available, like you don't have to stack up anything, or if it's just going to be kind of like a deployment. So I'm interested to see if these will actually count as summons, because if they do count as summons, then of course it's going to greatly affect the kinds of artifacts that she's running, as well as how they interact with her weapons. And we can see right here, we've got the drones, and they seem to be supporting Helhest. Whether they're healing her or giving her some extra damage, they're doing some sort of buffing capability. So it looks like the drones are not going to be used exclusively for combat, or at least exclusively for dealing damage to enemies. But we can also see a drone there on the left, right, that is holding what seems to be a heavy ammo brick, or a synthesized heavy ammo brick. It doesn't look like a true heavy ammo brick, so I'm curious if Helhest is going to have some sort of interaction with the ammo economy. For that, we can see Helhest painting a target, an AoE target, around some enemies. So it looks like there will be one that's at the center of the focal point, and then there will be enemies surrounding that focal point that'll get beaten down by the AoE of the attack. And it looks like the drones will then all converge on and attack the same target when she uses that. It's gonna be somewhat similar to how Estella works, it seems, where she's putting her drones on the field and then she can use a move to have the drones then converge on and attack the same target, but it's probably not going to be as focused as it was for Estella because it looks to be kind of like a one and done barrage deal. But we can see right here that she's using the linear fusion rifle. And another thing we can see right here that I'm not sure if a lot of people notice is the fact that the enemy that she attacks right there, she hits with the target, then gets attacked by the drones as well. And then we can see that same enemy that was still alive is now confined. So it looks like what the drones are going to be doing is they're going to be attacking enemies, and then enemies that get attacked will then be confined, being unable to move. That is actually going to be really, really good against certain targets, like for instance the Fallen specifically. It'll prevent them from dashing around and moving around, and it'll also especially help when it comes to grouping, because there are going to be a lot of enemies in this game that'll come out in like a pair but then split off. You can see this a lot in the Expanse and especially currently in the Calamity Ops, and she does also have to have some decent AoE. But what this makes me think is that the next Calamity Ops we could probably see might be the Pit. From the tutorials that we have in this game in the training ground, they specifically have the race trait of the Fallen being evasive maneuvers and have you using confine abilities in order to directly counter them. So that is something to keep in mind, but of course it could be any of the strikes that we have available in the game, or even a brand new strike, though we don't know if there's going to be any new content whatsoever. But we then see her finisher, which does look to be pretty nice and quick. And then we see her activate her super, which seems to spawn a super powered drone and maybe even buffs all of the drones she currently has on the field. And it looks like it maybe activates some other additional abilities for her, or either that's just the third person version of her using the painting the target, or if maybe the painting the target gets upgraded. And that looks to be the super drone that she has available, and as you can see, compared to the other two, it is significantly beefier with a larger missile salvo above it and what looks to be a camera. And we can also see over there on the big target when the enemy gets hit by her super, it looks to be getting some debuff. It looks to be confined, but also maybe something else. It doesn't quite look like corrupt. It could be something related to her weapon mastery, or it could be something entirely different or new. From the looks of her kit, I think she might be something of a support unit, especially because when we take a look at how she's moving around and her different abilities, she's kind of like Estella in the fact that she doesn't really have anything that's going to buff her movement around a lot. So, and especially using the piercing weapon type, she's probably going to be geared more towards sitting around in the back and letting her teammates rush in while her drones support them, and she supports them as well by attacking from a distance. So if I had to make some assumptions on her kit right there from what we've seen, though, that would be it. And that's pretty much it for the trailer, and some nice marketing all around. Definitely interesting. Now, some things that you can do to start preparing for Helhest are, one, obviously, you can stock up on some mods. So currently, the Strike playlist, using your keys on there, will give you selections of piercing and rapid fire mods, and the piercing mods would obviously be what you're going to want to use for either a mythic primary bow or a mythic linear fusion rifle. Getting some of these stocked up right here, and also some choice mods in general, would help you get your Helhest built faster when she releases. Obviously, some other things would be to stock up on Placitor clusters if needed, and because she is Arc, you'll note that she needs crackling incandescent sheaths and also Arc fruits, so you can stock up on those as well, along with any of the artifactual essences. Now, we don't currently know whether or not she will be doing primarily ability damage like Estella, or if she'll be doing primarily weapon damage like a lot of other units. So I can't really make any determinations on artifacts, especially because we don't really know the exact abilities of her toolkits. Though I will say that we didn't see anything that looked like a movement ability whatsoever. From that, we can presume that she probably won't have access to many of the different mobility artifacts, like the movement ability related ones. So that will likely have her doing some kind of mixture of a DR build with her slot 1 and slot 2, or like just increasing her total health bar with something like inverted guard and maybe another DR stuff. Of course, she could have DR completely built into her kit, damage resistance being DR. So if she does wind up having that, then obviously artifacts wouldn't be as necessary to patch up her kit, and obviously if she has healing, then she won't really need as much healing to patch up her kit. And if she does have healing, then she would be able to make use of the Ring of Conversion in a similar way to Estella and other healing units, though it does depend on how much uptime she has on her healing, because if it's like Umeko where she has opportunities to lose her overshield, then it's not going to be as good on her. But moving on to damage artifacts, obviously if she is primarily weapon damage, then the calming token is going to be the best slot 3 for her. However, if she winds up doing summon damage, then of course she's going to be using very similar damaging artifacts to Estella, such as the Bellicose Pact. But also, depending on how much you're spamming her abilities, the Rampaging Pact might also be useful to also increase her weapon damage. Believe that the linear fusion rifles would probably be a bit better for damage than the LMGs are in this game currently. We will have to wait and see. And obviously for slot 4, again, if she's primarily weapon damage, then Bellicose Planetesimal or Illuminated Ground will be really, really good for her. There is also other options that would benefit her ability damage, and specifically summon damage, more that Estella makes use of, that if you would then use summon damage for Helhest, which we don't know if she does summon damage yet, then obviously very, very similar slot 4 artifact to Estella. But with that all out of the way, I think that is just about everything that I have to say on this upcoming news in Destiny Rising. It's going to be a long 8 days. Well, 8 days at time of recording. At time of upload, it's going to be a week. There's not going to be a whole lot going on. So, you know, just have as good of a time as you possibly can. Do some objectives that you maybe have neglected, like doing some character quests, maybe hunting for some triumphs if that interests you, and obviously preparing for Helhest's release if you are interested in her would all be good things for you to do. With that all out of the way, thank you all so much for watching. If you are excited about Helhest, please let me know in the comments below, and I know a lot of people have been really looking forward to getting a new hunter unit in this game, though I will say as an arc unit she's going to have very, very steep competition with the Ningfei, and the Ningfei agenda will be maintained, so do not worry about that. As always, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.